Welcome back, guys, to Tuts Tangents. Here with me, Tut, on a Wednesday. Uh, Yesterday I had intended to do my podcast, but recently this week I've been working an hour extra every day. That's gonna go on until next week. So I was extremely tired yesterday and I woke up hella late. So I did not record the podcast. That's why I'm recording it today. Um, Hopefully next week it will also be on Tuesday when I regularly intended for it to be. If not, you guys will have filler content like what I gave you yesterday if you guys hadn't checked that out. It was a 1.5 hour stream that I had done on Monday morning, where I was just sitting, chilling, talking with you guys in chat. And anytime that the podcast happens to be a little bit late, I'll give you guys filler content and stuff like that. But how are you guys doing? It is Wednesday. Half of the week is through, pretty much. For a lot of people, they're getting paid this Friday. This girl over here, I'm ready for that. So we're getting closer and closer to that Friday, that fabulous Friday where we can just, pay bills, pay bills, do laundry, buy groceries, whatever we do with our money, maybe get a little bit here or there, like get a new outfit or something, get some new tech, who knows? But I am ready. Are you guys excited? You guys ready for the week to be over? Because I am so tired. But yesterday I was really feeling it. Yesterday at work, I was done. I took a nap. Well, not really a nap, but I was falling asleep during lunch break and during the break before we left for work. So I am thoroughly exhausted. Now let's jump right into the broad topic that I want to talk about, and that is just in general being positive. For example, when the situation, like mine is what I'm going to use for the example, being extremely tired and being just groggy and annoyed and irritated, because you have to stay an extra hour, whatever at work, however it works. It's hard. It is extremely hard to be positive in situations like that. Any new situation, anything that you deem complicated or just makes you feel defensive, makes you feel annoyed, makes you just want to be like, fuck the world, It's hard nowadays to be positive, especially on social media and around people and around the things that you see in your everyday life. It seems like people are becoming a lot more negative, and the only things you really see are the negatives. And then when you do see some of the positives, you just think, oh, it's just that same old whatever, and you brush it off. Whether people are like, oh, you're in my thoughts, or oh, that's terrible, stuff like that. Nowadays, we've all become sort of numb to those kinds of things, and just we seem to thrive off of the negative things that happen. But I feel like we shouldn't let those things just take over the world, take over our lives, be the only things that we see. Like, I do agree that we should see what's going on in the world, and we should see like the negative side of the world, but I don't feel like it should ever be pictured in a light where once you can go either far one side or far another. Like, we just need straight facts. We just need the straight facts. We need to know what's going on. That's it. Like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have opinions on it. What I'm saying is, when I see all of this negative, like, backlash, like, one of the things I was watching Philly D. I watch him, like, every day. He's got great news, great content. He's very not biased, unbiased. He's very unbiased. He will say his opinion, but when he's giving the news, he just gives the news. One of the things he talked about was Jimmy Kimmel talking about the first lady's accent, you know, and how he got backlash from someone. I forgot his name. I forgot the Republican's name who said it. But then they were going back and forth on Twitter about it and all that. Like, I don't know the news. I don't know the whole complete story, but I did get an overview from what he was saying. And it's ridiculous nowadays when you see like all of this negativity and the super far left, the super far right. I'm over here like, can I just not be involved and or like entertained? I'm not entertained with this kind of stuff because it's ridiculous. You'd think like, yeah, jokes aside, some things are not tactful, not tasteful to say and or do, but I feel like everybody should hold themselves to a higher standard and should look at the things that they do and decide, okay, is this going to impact somebody else in a negative way? And when I say it like that, I don't mean people can't crack jokes. I don't mean that at all. Like, that's like a big part of comedy. I think it's one of those things when you know someone is cracking a joke, it's obvious. Yeah, some people are going to take offense to it. I understand that. But to go out and full on attack each other doesn't make any sense to me. Like, anything that has to do with just ridiculousness or skewing facts or skewing the fact that maybe this person who's saying another person is in the wrong has done exactly the same thing before is just straight ridiculousness. I don't understand how nowadays, how people just, how they're so hypocritical and or so negative towards one another. I don't want to do all this like mumbo jumbo, like hippie bull where it's like, we're all people, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, it's true. We're all people. We should all understand that. We should all understand what's tactful, what's not, what we should be fighting for and what we should be fighting against, what we should actually be looking at and what we should be judging, what should be more entertainment based and what should actually be serious. It's just, everybody nowadays is becoming so numb to everything. Every little thing that seems to be just more news-based, whether it was something on a mass scale where lives were taken. There are people that attack the victims, which makes no sense to me. It's like, oh, boo-hoo, blah, 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 blah. You can't say that because you weren't there. Like, I can't say it. I wasn't there. Like, it would never come to mind whether I'm pro whatever or con whatever to attack the person who's gone through it and who knows, you know. And it's ridiculous to think that people do stuff like that. Like, are you trying to get a rise out of these people, these young kids, their family? You know, they've experienced this, and they're like, I can see why they're fighting for what they're fighting for, and I wouldn't stop someone from going out and having a march to raise awareness. I would not do that. I wouldn't stop someone from that. I wouldn't tell them they're horrible people for doing that, or they just want this for that, or like they're crybabies or whatever. No, it's a legitimate issue. It's a legitimate thing. And people are just over here like, oh, I'm gonna be negative, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not gonna look at the bigger picture of things. Like, I get it if some people want to have a certain type of something in their house to protect them. If they've had that kind of weapon their whole life. I get it. I fucking get it. But the problem is, these people are hurt. And you're bringing your negativity to them when they're hurt, when they've lost something or someone great, smart, amazing, who is no longer around. Like, whether they lost a friend in that or they were just a part of the county and they lost the ability to feel like either A, they're safe, or B, their children are safe. This negativity is ridiculous. And a lot of people aren't going to agree with me. They're going to be like, oh, whatever. Like, people can say whatever they want to say. And I fully believe that people do have the right to say whatever they say. But people don't think that it's going to have a bigger impact on society when they say certain things, especially if they're people in the public eye. Like, you don't think that if you're a politician or you're a newscaster or something, if you say something where your viewers who are easily influenced by you, who agree with everything you say, aren't going to shift completely to that side, if you don't think that, then you should not be in the public eye. Unfortunately. I like when people have like-minded opinions and stuff like that. I don't like when people are extremely negative. There's a lot of things where it's like, a lot of things where people don't really think about it. It's like, hey, if I say that Jimmy and or Johnny down the block has a crazy looking nose, and I go up to him and I say, hey, you have a crazy looking nose, how do you think that's gonna make him feel? Do you think he's gonna be happy about that? Like, you may not know if he has security issues or not, or he could just be one of those dudes who's just gonna snap and punch you in the face. Like, you don't freaking know. Like, aside from just in general being a positive person, like, I'm not saying to not try to help people. I'm not saying to not fight for a cause. I'm not saying to completely give up your opinion because other people may think it's negative. I'm saying there are different ways to go about different things. And in certain situations, people should be mindful of when it just A, sounds stupid, B, is super immature, or C, just ignores all the facts of things that actually may have occurred. Nowadays, people are becoming so desensitized to it, it's horrible. Like, I find myself scrolling through my feed, and when I see these things that happen, I'm just like, I'm awestruck. Not in the sense to where it's like, oh, that was a terrible thing, I feel like crying, I'm gonna go and cry in my room for like an hour, but awestruck at the fact that I've seen it so much to where I'm just baffled. I'm just baffled at how I feel about it. Like, I can't even explain the numbness or the uncomfortable feeling that I get when I see something tragic happen. Because it's not just the tragic thing, it's when you start scrolling through comments or when you start seeing the way that people react to it later on, or that feeling where you feel like people are going to act a certain way because this happened. It's so hard to try to be positive about that. Obviously, tragic things, I'm not saying be positive in these tragic situations. I mean, it's hard for anyone in general, like, to want to speak up against, like, people with other opinions nowadays, because everyone is so, they're so 100% about the things that they say, regardless of how kind they may be, regardless of how horrible they may be, regardless of how just mean they may be. And I think it's terrible. I think it's horrible. That's a very small snippet of how I feel about this. It's more broad. It's very broken up. My thoughts are still kind of all over the place with it, but you kind of have a tiny idea of how I feel. If you guys want to know more, whether it's a specific topic or whatever having to deal with positivity and or negativity, and how people should really approach being positive, being more positive, but still having their opinion, or just being positive in the light of darkness in our society. For me, be sure to just leave it in the comments. Let me know on Twitter, whatever. And if you enjoyed this tangent, then slap a like on it, subscribe, do that bell for notifications, because I'll be doing these every week, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. I'll let you guys know on Twitter if it'll be late or not. If it will be late, there will be more content. So I really hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, and I hope that your day is positive and great and amazing. And if it's not, just remember, you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are awesome. And I will see you guys next week. Peace out.